The roundhouse kick connected with bone-crushing precision. Tyler Brennan's body twisted in slow motion, his jaw snapping sideways as 190 pounds of quarterback arrogance crumpled to the floor. The cafeteria erupted in screams. Phones captured every frame. Blood splattered across white tiles. 3 weeks earlier, Madison Taylor sat alone in the corner of Westfield High's cafeteria. Her physics textbook open to Chapter 12. The noise of 500 students eating lunch faded to background static as she calculated velocity equations in her notebook. Her dark hair fell like a curtain, shielding her from the world. Then the shadow fell across her page. "Hey, beautiful." Tyler Brennan's voice dripped with the confidence of someone who'd never heard the word no. 6'3" of muscle and privilege stood beside her table. His Letterman jacket stretched tight across broad shoulders. Behind him, Jake Morrison and Derek Walsh flanked him like trained dogs. Madison didn't look up. "I'm not interested." The entire cafeteria went silent. Forks stopped moving. Conversations died mid-sentence. Even the lunch ladies paused their serving. Tyler's perfect smile faltered. "You don't even know what I was going to say." "Doesn't matter." Madison turned the page in her textbook. "The answer is no." Someone gasped. A few nervous giggles rippled through the watching crowd. Nobody rejected Tyler Brennan. Star quarterback, future NFL prospect, son of the man who owned half of Connecticut. Tyler's face flushed red. His hand moved fast, too fast for anyone to stop. The protein shake he'd been holding exploded across Madison's table. Chocolate liquid destroyed her notebook, her textbook, and most importantly, her $2,000 MacBook. "Oops," Tyler's smile returned, uglier now. "Guess you should watch where you sit." Madison finally looked up. Her brown eyes held no fear, no anger, just a cold assessment that made Tyler step back involuntarily. She closed her ruined textbook, gathered her dripping belongings, and stood. "You'll pay for the laptop." Her voice stayed level, matter of fact. Tyler laughed. "Make me." Madison walked away without another word. But everyone saw Tyler's hand shake slightly as he watched her go. And within minutes, the video hit TikTok. 10,000 views in the first hour. The caption read, "New girl just ended Tyler Brennan's whole career with 3 words." The next morning arrived at 5 a.m. sharp. Madison's alarm didn't wake her. She'd been up for 10 minutes already. Stretching in the darkness of her room, her morning routine never varied. 50 push-ups, 100 crunches, 3-mile run, cold shower, protein shake, school clothes. But this morning felt different. As she wrapped her hands for the heavy bag in her garage, her phone buzzed with notifications. Her Instagram had gained 3,000 followers overnight. The TikTok video now had 200,000 views. She ignored them all and started her combinations. Jab, cross, hook. The bag swayed with each impact. Her form stayed perfect, economical, no wasted movement. Each strike landed with precision that spoke of years of practice. Meanwhile, across town in a mansion overlooking the water, Tyler Brennan stood in front of his bathroom mirror, flexing. His reflection smiled back, all white teeth and dimples. His phone played a workout playlist while he admired his abs. Unlike Madison's functional strength, Tyler's muscles were built for show. Beach muscles, his father called them. Pretty, but useless in a real fight. "Tyler," his mother's voice echoed from downstairs. "Breakfast." He grabbed his phone, posted another shirtless selfie to his 40,000 followers, and headed down. His room told his story in trophies and photos. Football awards covered every surface. Pictures with college scouts. Newspaper clippings about the golden boy of Westfield High. Hidden in Madison's closet, pushed behind winter coats and old boxes, sat a different collection. Trophies from competitions nobody at Westfield had heard of. Photos with people whose faces were blurred for privacy. A life carefully concealed. Madison arrived at school to find her locker decorated. Someone had taped printed screenshots across the metal. Photoshopped images of her face on naked bodies. Crude messages in red marker. A crowd had gathered to watch her reaction. She approached calmly, examining the display like an art critic at a gallery. The hallway held its breath. Phones rose to record her breakdown. Instead, Madison pulled out a plastic scraper from her backpack. Methodically, she removed each image. No hurry, no emotion. When she finished, she sprayed cleaner on the marker and wiped it away. The crowd parted as she walked to first period. "Why isn't she crying?" Derek whispered to Tyler, who watched from the end of the hall. Tyler's jaw clenched. She will. But as Madison passed, someone else caught her attention. Olivia Martinez stepped out from behind a row of lockers. Tyler's ex-girlfriend looked thinner than her Instagram photos suggested. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. "We need to talk," Olivia said quietly. "About Tyler." They ducked into an empty classroom. Olivia checked the hallway before closing the door. "You need to be careful." Olivia's hands shook as she spoke. "His last victim? She attempted suicide. Sophia Chen. She transferred schools after. Her parents threatened to sue, but Tyler's dad made it disappear." Madison studied Olivia's face. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I stayed quiet when it was happening to me, and then I stayed quiet when it happened to Sophia. I can't," Olivia's voice cracked. "I can't watch it happen again." "What exactly did he do?" Olivia pulled out her phone. "Everything. He starts with public humiliation, then cyber attacks, then—" She showed Madison old text messages, threats, explicit photos she'd never sent. "He has a whole system. His friends help. The school protects him because his dad funds the new stadium." Madison screenshotted everything. "Thank you for telling me." "That's not all." Olivia glanced at the door again. "He records things, secret videos. He keeps them as insurance." The bell rang. Students flooded the hallways. As Madison opened the door, Olivia grabbed her arm. "Don't try to fight him. Just survive until graduation. That's what we all do." Madison patted Olivia's hand gently. "I'm not like the others." After school, Madison noticed the bruise while changing for her workout. A purple mark on her ribs where she'd accidentally been shoved into a locker during passing period. She examined it in the mirror, cataloging the injury with clinical detachment. Her father knocked on her door. "Maddie, you okay in there?" "Fine. Dad." She pulled her shirt down quickly. Robert Taylor entered anyway. Even at 55, he moved with the controlled grace of someone trained to be dangerous. His eyes missed nothing, including the edge of purple peeking out from under her shirt. "Who did that?" His voice carried the quiet menace of someone who'd asked that question in much worse places. "It's nothing. Gym class accident." "Madison." He used her full name, the Navy SEAL voice. "I didn't raise you to lie to me." She met his eyes. "And you didn't raise me to need protection. I can handle it. Dad?" Robert studied his daughter, saw himself in her stubborn, set jaw, her mother in the determined eyes. "You know I could make one phone call." "No." Madison's voice stayed firm. "This is my fight. My way." He nodded slowly. "Your mother was the same. Stubborn as hell." His expression softened. "Just remember what I taught you. Sometimes the best victory is the one where no one gets hurt." "And sometimes," Madison said quietly, "someone needs to be stopped before they hurt anyone else." That evening, Tyler held court in the football team's group chat. His bedroom had become command central for Operation Madison. Derek and Jake sat on his couch, scrolling through their phones. "She needs to be taught a lesson." Tyler paced back and forth. "No one disrespects me like that." "Bro, maybe we should chill," Jake suggested nervously. "The TikTok thing kind of backfired. You're getting roasted in the comments." Tyler spun on him. "You think I care what losers online think? This is about respect, about the natural order." He pulled up Madison's Instagram. "Look at her, acting like she's better than everyone, like she's untouchable." "What's the plan?" Derek asked, always eager to please. Tyler smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "Tomorrow we escalate, but first," he typed rapidly on his phone, "let's see how she likes being exposed." Within minutes, Madison's Instagram started acting strangely. Her password stopped working. Her photos disappeared, replaced with explicit images, direct messages sent to every teacher's account, propositioning them with graphic language. Madison discovered the hack when her father showed her his phone at dinner. "Want to explain why your principal just called about inappropriate messages?" She looked at the screenshots, studied the metadata. "It's not me. Check the IP address. This came from..." She pulled up a tracing app. "The Brennan Industries Network." Robert's expression darkened. "That's cyber harassment. We can press charges." "Not yet." Madison took screenshots of everything. "I'm building a case. This is just evidence." "Madison, this boy is escalating. In my experience..." "Dad." She placed her hand over his. "Trust me, I know what I'm doing." The next morning brought new challenges. Madison found her car surrounded in the parking lot. The football team formed a circle, blocking her path. Tyler stood in the center, casual as a catalog model. "Heard you had some computer troubles." His smile promised worse to come. "Maybe you should be nicer to people. Bad things happen to unfriendly girls." Madison counted. 12 of them, various sizes. Football players were strong but slow, predictable movement patterns, multiple escape routes if needed. But she kept her hands relaxed, her breathing steady. "Co camera Kapnoy." "Tyler," she gestured to the security cameras. "Whatever you're thinking, you're on video." Tyler's face darkened. He stepped closer, close enough that she could smell his expensive cologne masking cheaper desperation. "Just say yes." His voice dropped low. "One date, this all stops. You get to be Tyler Brennan's girlfriend. Do you know how many girls would kill for that chance? No." Madison didn't blink. "Now move." Tyler's control snapped. He grabbed her windshield wiper and yanked. The metal bent, then broke. He threw it aside and punched her windshield. The safety glass spider-webbed but held. "Oops," he echoed his cafeteria performance. "Guess you should watch where you park." The team laughed, but it sounded forced. Some of them glanced nervously at the cameras Tyler had forgotten about in his rage. Madison pulled out her phone and took photos of the damage, of Tyler's bleeding knuckles, of each team member's face. "Thank you," she said simply. "This helps." She got in her car and drove away, leaving 12 confused football players in her wake. That night, Tyler's car appeared outside Madison's house, just sitting there, engine off, lights on, watching. Robert Taylor stood at the window, shotgun in hand. "That's it? I'm going out there." "Don't!" Madison placed her hand on the gun barrel, gently pushing it down. "This is what he wants. To provoke a reaction he can use against us. He's stalking you, Madison, at our home." "I know." She pulled out her laptop, "which is why I'm video calling my coach." The screen lit up with Coach Sarah Chen's face. Even through the computer, the older woman's presence commanded respect. Behind her, the walls displayed championship belts and fighter photos. "Madison, heard you're having some trouble." "Nothing I can't handle." Madison angled the laptop so Sarah could see out the window. "Just wanted your opinion on something." Sarah studied the situation. "You're holding back too much. I've seen the cafeteria video. Your body language screams fighter to anyone who knows what to look for." "I'm trying to avoid—" "I know what you're trying to avoid." Sarah's voice gentled. "But sometimes, defending yourself is the only option. You didn't train all these years to be a victim." They talked strategy for an hour. Tyler's car never moved, just sat there, engine running occasionally for heat, a presence meant to unnerve. "Remember," Sarah said before hanging up, "your greatest strength isn't your striking, it's your control. Use it wisely." The next day, gym class became a battlefield, basketball practice, supposedly, but somehow Madison kept ending up on the floor, elbows to her ribs during rebounds, feet tangling with hers during drills, Coach Williams mysteriously looking away each time. Then came the stairs. Madison felt the push before she saw who did it. Her body pitched forward down the concrete steps. Instinct took over. She tucked, rolled, came up at the bottom in a crouch. Her ankles screamed, but she showed nothing. Tyler stood at the top of the stairs, concern plastered across his face. "Oh my God, are you okay? You should really be more careful." Madison stood slowly, testing her ankle, sprained but not broken. She'd had worse, much worse. Tyler descended the stairs, stopping one step above her, using height to intimidate. "Next time won't be an accident," he whispered. "This is your last chance. Say yes, or things get much worse." Students gathered at the top of the stairs, phones out, always recording. The price of modern violence. Everything documented. "Mr. Brennan?" The security guard, Officer Mills, appeared beside them. "Principal wants to see you." Tyler straightened, switching back to Golden Boy mode. "Of course. Just making sure Madison's okay after her fall." As Tyler left, Officer Mills helped Madison to the nurse's office. Once they were alone, he closed the door. "I have footage." His voice stayed low. "Of everything, the push, the parking lot, even some things from last year with the other girls." Madison looked up sharply. "Why haven't you—" "Because his father owns half this town, including the company that employs me." Mills looked older suddenly, tired. "But I kept copies. Hidden. When you're ready. If you need them, thank you." Madison filed the information away. Another ally. Another piece of evidence. By Friday, the pattern had become clear. Tyler operated like a predator. Isolate. Intimidate. Escalate. But he'd made one crucial mistake. He'd chosen the wrong prey. The party invitation appeared on every social media platform. Tyler Brennan's house, Friday night. The biggest event of the fall. Everyone who mattered would be there. Madison deleted each invitation without reading. She had no interest in entering Tyler's territory until the text arrived from an unknown number. The message included a photo. Emma Brooks, a freshman Madison had helped with calculus homework. The image showed Emma's 8-year-old brother at his elementary school. The caption read, "Come to the party or Emma's family has accidents. Your choice." Madison stared at the screen. In her garage, the heavy bag waited. Her knuckles itched for impact. For the simple solution, years of training had hardwired into her muscle memory. But she remembered her father's words, her coach's advice, the security guard's hidden footage, the pieces of a larger plan falling into place. She forwarded the threat to her documentation folder, evidence file number 43. Then she texted back a single word, "Understood." Saturday night arrived with unusual warmth for October. Madison didn't go to Tyler's party. Instead, she sat in a law office downtown, her father beside her, Olivia Martinez across the table. Hands steady now with purpose. 2 other girls Tyler had terrorized, Officer Mills in civilian clothes, a lawyer named Patricia Webb who specialized in harassment cases. "This is comprehensive." Patricia flipped through printed screenshots, videos on a laptop, witness statements. "With Officer Mills' footage, we have enough for criminal charges. Not just a restraining order. I don't want him arrested." Madison's statement surprised everyone. "Not yet. I want the restraining order first. Public. Served at school. Let him react. Show everyone who he really is." Patricia studied her young client. "You're betting he'll violate it." "I'm counting on it." Madison pulled up her phone. More threatening texts from the party. Photos of Emma looking scared. Tyler getting increasingly angry at her absence. He can't help himself. The moment he thinks he's losing control, he'll snap. Robert Taylor squeezed his daughter's shoulder. "You're playing a dangerous game." "No, Dad, I'm ending one." Monday morning arrived like a bomb detonation. Tyler strutted into school, still riding high from his party, from forcing Emma Brooks to cry in front of everyone when Madison didn't show, from the feeling of power that came from making others hurt. The process server waited by his locker. "Tyler Brennan." "Yeah," Tyler barely glanced at the man. "You've been served." The envelope hit Tyler's chest. Legal documents scattered as he fumbled to catch them. The hallway erupted. Phones appeared like weapons. The restraining order was public record now. Everyone could see Madison Taylor's name. The accusations, the evidence summaries. Tyler's face cycled through emotions, confusion, rage, embarrassment, his carefully constructed image cracking in real time. "This is a mistake." He looked around at his audience. "She's lying. This is all lies." But doubt had already started. Whispers spread. Other girls shared looks. Stories that had been buried started surfacing. By lunch, Tyler's world was imploding. College scouts called his father. The principal held emergency meetings. His football friends distanced themselves, afraid of guilt by association. He found Madison after school, waited until the hallways emptied, until no cameras could see, until it was just them in the abandoned East Wing. "You think paperwork will stop me?" His voice had lost its smooth confidence. Now it was raw, desperate, dangerous. Madison kept walking. "The restraining order says 100 feet. Tyler, you're in violation just being here." He moved faster than she expected. His hand closed around her throat, slamming her against the lockers. The metal rang with impact. "I own this school." Spit flew from his mouth. "My father owns this town. You're nothing, nobody, some military brat who thinks she can come here and disrespect me." Madison's hands stayed at her sides, even with his fingers cutting off her air. She didn't panic. Her eyes met his. Calm. Cold. Evaluating. "Wrong move," she whispered. Tyler squeezed harder. "What are you going to do?" "Cry, beg, finally show some respect." Madison's eyes shifted. Looking past him, Tyler followed her gaze to the security camera he'd forgotten about. The one Officer Mills had mentioned covered this hallway. His grip loosened slightly, just enough. Madison moved. Madison's muscle memory took over. Years of training compressed into 3 seconds. She broke Tyler's grip with a technique so smooth it looked effortless. Her left hand circled outside his wrist. Her right drove into his elbow joint. His arm bent at an angle that forced him to release. Tyler stumbled back, massaging his throat. "You little—" He swung wild, a haymaker punch driven by rage, not technique. Madison flowed beneath it like water under a bridge. His fist hit empty air where her head had been. "Stop," she said calmly. "You don't want this." Tyler charged. Football tackle form. Head down. Shoulders squared. 200 pounds of athlete coming at full speed. Madison sidestepped at the last moment, using his momentum against him. Her hip checked his center of gravity. Her hands guided his shoulders. The world flipped. Tyler hit the linoleum hard, air exploding from his lungs. He rolled, gasping, trying to understand what happened. "I said, stop!" Madison hadn't even changed her breathing pattern. "Walk away." But Tyler Brennan had never walked away from anything. He scrambled up, nose bleeding from the impact. His eyes held something worse than rage now. Humiliation. "What are you?" He wiped blood with his sleeve. Students had started gathering at both ends of the hallway. Phones raised, recording everything. The whispers started. "Is that Madison?" She just flipped Tyler. "Holy crap, she's not even sweating." Madison shifted her weight slightly. Her stance changed. Subtle adjustments only trained eyes would recognize. Feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, hands open but ready. "I'm someone who said no," she answered. "Multiple times." Tyler laughed. Ugly sound, blood on his teeth. "You think you're tough? Some self-defense class moves." He raised his fists. "I'm going to end you." He came in smarter this time. Jab to test distance. Madison parried it aside. Another jab. She slipped outside. He threw a cross. She redirected it past her shoulder. "Fight back!" Tyler screamed. Madison shook her head. "I am fighting back, just not how you expected." The crowd grew. 50 students, then 100. The circle widened, giving them space. Someone started live streaming. The view count climbed exponentially. Tyler tried a combination. Jab, cross, hook. Basic, but thrown with power. Madison weaved through them, each miss making Tyler angrier, making him sloppier. "Stand still." He threw another wild punch. This time Madison didn't dodge. She intercepted his arm, trapped it against her body, and demonstrated a perfect hip throw. Tyler hit the ground harder than before. The impact echoed through the hallway. He got up slower, ribs aching, ego shattered. The golden boy of Westfield bleeding on the floor while the quiet new girl stood untouched. "Please stop," Madison said, not begging, just offering him a way out. "It doesn't have to be like this." Tyler's response was to spit blood at her feet and charge again. But something had broken in him. The predator confidence was gone. Now he fought like prey. Desperate, frightened, Madison decided to end it. When he came in, she didn't retreat. She stepped forward into his space. Her palm struck his solar plexus, folding him forward. Her knee came up, catching his ribs. Not full power, just enough to hurt, to make a point. Tyler dropped to one knee, holding his stomach. Madison circled behind him, still calm, still controlled. "Stay down," she advised. He didn't listen. Of course he didn't. Tyler forced himself up, turning with one last haymaker. Everything he had left in one punch. Madison saw it coming like slow motion. The telegraph in his shoulder. The plant of his foot. The desperation in his eyes. She ducked under the punch, her body coiling like a spring. Then she unwound. Her right leg swept up in a perfect arc. Textbook roundhouse kick. The same one she'd practiced 10,000 times on heavy bags. Her shin connected with Tyler's jaw. The sound was unique. Not like movies. More wet. More final. Tyler's head snapped sideways. His eyes rolled back. His body went limp before he even started falling. He hit the floor unconscious. Silence. Complete and absolute. 200 students holding their breath. Then someone started clapping. Then another, then the entire hallway erupted in applause and cheers. Madison didn't acknowledge it. She knelt beside Tyler, checking his pulse, making sure his airway was clear. The fighter's responsibility after victory. "Someone call 911, she said calmly. "He needs medical attention." School security arrived first, then EMTs, then police. The crowd parted as Tyler was loaded onto a stretcher, still unconscious. Madison gave her statement calmly, pointing out the security cameras, the restraining order violation, the self-defense nature of the fight. Within an hour, the video was everywhere. Every social media platform, news websites picking it up. High school girl destroys bully trending worldwide. The comments sections exploded with support for Madison, but she wasn't reading them. She sat in the principal's office, her father beside her, explaining everything to Principal Reynolds and 2 police officers. "The security footage confirms your account," Officer Mills said, now in full uniform. "Clear self-defense. He violated the restraining order and assaulted you first." "Will he be arrested?" Madison asked. "That's up to you," the detective replied. "You can press charges for assault, stalking, harassment, with the evidence we have. He's looking at serious time." Madison thought about it. "What's his condition? Concussion, broken nose, bruised ribs. He'll recover fully." The detective studied her. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" "My coach is Sarah Chen. I've been training since I was 7. Madison pulled out her phone, showing competition records. 15 wins, 2 losses in amateur MMA. I was planning to go pro after high school. Principal Reynolds leaned back in his chair. "Why didn't you tell us? This could have been handled differently." "Because I shouldn't have to be a trained fighter to say no to someone." Madison's voice carried quiet authority. "Every girl in this school should be able to refuse Tyler Brennan without needing a black belt." The room fell silent at that truth. By evening, the story had evolved. Local news interviewed students. Tyler's history came to light. Olivia Martinez spoke on camera about her experience. 2 other girls came forward. The pattern became undeniable. Madison the Warrior started trending, but also hashed Westfield cover-up. Questions arose about why the school had protected Tyler for so long, why previous complaints were ignored, why it took a viral beatdown to create consequences. Tyler woke up in the hospital to find his world destroyed. His phone had thousands of notifications, none supportive. College scouts publicly withdrew interest. Sponsors pulled out. His carefully built image lay in ruins. His father stormed in first. Richard Brennan, powerful businessman, reduced to damage control. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Richard's face was purple with rage. "The lawsuits, the media attention. Our family name is ruined." Tyler couldn't speak. His jaw was wired shut. But for the first time, he really looked at his father, saw the rage he'd inherited, the need to control, the violence barely contained under an expensive suit. His mother entered next. Helen Brennan moved carefully, like someone used to navigating around explosive tempers. She waited until Richard left for a phone call, then sat beside her son's bed. "I need to show you something." She pulled out her phone. The photos were date-stamped over years. Bruises hidden under makeup. A black eye explained as a tennis accident. Finger marks on her arms. A documented history of abuse Tyler had been blind to. He made a sound through his wired jaw, pain and recognition mixing. "You're becoming him," Helen said quietly. "What you did to those girls, to Madison, it's what he does to me." Tears ran down her face. "I failed you by staying silent, by letting you think this was normal, strong." Tyler's own tears came then, for the first time since he was 7 years old, since his father had told him crying was weakness, that real men took what they wanted, that power meant making others afraid. He typed on his phone with shaking fingers, "I need help." Helen squeezed his hand. "I know, baby, we both do." 2 days later, Madison received a text from an unknown number. Then a call from Helen Brennan. The conversation was short but shocking. Tyler wanted to meet, to apologize. His mother begged Madison to consider it. "He's not the same," Helen explained. "Something broke when he woke up, when he saw what he'd become. He's agreed to therapy, real therapy, but he says he needs to apologize to you first." Madison consulted with her father, her lawyer, even Coach Chen. Everyone advised against it. But something in Helen's voice, the desperation of a mother trying to save her son, made Madison reconsider. She agreed to meet at the hospital, public place, security nearby, her father in the waiting room, every precaution taken. Tyler looked smaller in the hospital bed, the swagger gone, the golden boy armor stripped away. Just a 17-year-old who'd lost everything and finally understood why. He typed on a tablet, jaw still wired, "I'm sorry." Madison sat in the visitor's chair. "Sorry you got caught," or "sorry for what you did." More typing. "Both, everything. I watched the video, saw myself, saw what everyone else saw. I'm a monster." "Yes," Madison agreed. "You are." Tyler flinched, but kept typing. "My mom showed me pictures, what my dad does, what I was becoming. I can't undo what I did to you, to Olivia, to the others, but I need to try to fix it." "How?" Madison's voice stayed neutral. "I don't know. Therapy, speaking out, using my platform to educate others. Whatever you think would help." Madison studied him, looking for the manipulation, the angle, but found only genuine desperation. A drowning person finally admitting they needed help. "You have two choices," she said finally. "Prison or complete transformation. Not just therapy. Not just apologies. You dedicate your life to undoing the damage you've caused, speaking at schools about toxic masculinity, supporting assault survivors, becoming an advocate against everything you used to represent." Tyler nodded immediately, typed, "Yes, whatever it takes." "This isn't about redemption," Madison clarified. "You don't get forgiven. You don't get to feel better. You work every day to ensure no one else becomes what you were. That's the deal." More nodding, more typing. "I understand. Thank you." Madison stood to leave. "Don't thank me. Thank your mother. She's the only reason I'm giving you this chance." The transformation that followed shocked everyone. Tyler appeared at school assemblies, jaw still healing, using text-to-speech software to tell his story, to admit publicly what he'd done, to show the messages he'd sent, the fear he'd created, the pain he'd caused. Some called it performative. Others saw genuine change. But when Tyler broke down crying on stage, when he talked about becoming his abusive father, when he begged other boys not to follow his path, even skeptics paid attention. Madison started teaching self-defense classes after school. First, just a few girls, then dozens. Then the gym was packed. Every session. She taught them physical techniques, but also confidence, boundaries, the power of saying no and meaning it. Emma Brooks landed her first proper palm strike on a practice pad. Her smile lit up the room. "I did it!" Emma bounced with excitement. "Yes, you did," Madison confirmed. "Now do it again. Practice until it's instinct." The ripple effects spread throughout Westfield High. Mandatory consent workshops were implemented. The football team attended talks about healthy masculinity. The administration faced real scrutiny about their protection of star athletes. Tyler, once healed, began speaking at other schools. His story, from golden boy to cautionary tale, resonated. He donated his college fund to assault survivor organizations. He volunteered at shelters. He faced death threats from men's rights extremists who saw him as a traitor. "I was a terrorist," he said in one speech. "I terrorized girls to feel powerful, to feel like a man. But real strength isn't about domination. It's about protection. It's about lifting others up, not tearing them down." 6 months later, Westfield High looked different. The trophy case that once held only football achievements now displayed self-defense competition medals. Photos of Madison's students at tournaments. A plaque with her quote, "True strength isn't about domination, it's about protection." Madison received an offer from the UFC development program, a fast track to professional fighting. Her skills had gone viral again when she competed in a regional tournament, winning every match by submission. She turned it down. "You're crazy," Coach Chen said over video call. "This is your dream, what we've worked for." My dream has changed," Madison replied. "I've found something more important than personal glory." She gestured to her packed class. 60 girls and boys learning to defend themselves, learning confidence, learning that they deserved respect and had the power to demand it. Tyler was there too, holding pads for beginners, part of his service. He'd asked to help, and after long deliberation, Madison had agreed. He was good with the nervous kids, understanding their fear because he'd once created it. The final school assembly of the year focused on the changes. Principal Reynolds, who'd announced his retirement amid criticism of his handling of bullying, introduced the new policies. zero tolerance for harassment, mandatory reporting, support systems for victims. Madison sat in the audience, watching her ripples become waves. New students who'd been bullied found their voices. Teachers received training on intervention. The culture that had protected predators slowly transformed into one that protected victims. Helen Brennan took the stage as the final speaker. She'd become an advocate for domestic violence survivors. Her story, hidden for 20 years, now helped others find courage to leave. "My son was a product of what he saw at home," she said clearly, "of what I allowed him to see by staying silent. But silence is complicity, speaking up, standing up, fighting back. That's how we break these cycles." She found Madison in the crowd. "A young woman showed my son that his behavior had consequences. She could have destroyed him. Instead, she gave him a chance to change, to become someone who protects instead of harms. That's true strength." The crowd erupted in applause. Madison didn't stand or wave. She simply nodded, acknowledging the moment before turning to whisper technique corrections to Emma, who was practicing forms in her seat after the assembly. A new student approached Madison, a freshman girl, small and nervous, holding transfer paperwork. "Are you really Madison, the one from the video?" Madison smiled gently. "I'm Madison, but the video isn't what matters. What matters is that you're safe here now. Everyone is. I was bullied at my last school," the girl admitted. "That's why we moved. I'm scared it will happen again." "It might," Madison said honestly. "But here you'll be ready. You'll have support, and you'll know that standing up for yourself isn't just allowed, it's expected." She handed the girl a flyer for her defense classes. "First lesson is Monday. Bring comfortable clothes." As the students dispersed, Tyler approached Madison one last time before graduation. He'd been accepted to a small college, planning to study social work. His father had disowned him. His old friends had abandoned him. But he looked more at peace than he ever had as Golden Boy quarterback. "Thank you," he said simply, "for stopping me before I became him completely." Madison studied her former tormentor, saw the work he'd done, the accountability he'd taken, the life he was building on the ashes of who he'd been. "Don't thank me," she repeated what she'd said in the hospital. "Thank every girl who survived what you did to them. Honor them by making sure it never happens again." Tyler nodded. "Every day, for the rest of my life." As he walked away, Madison allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Not for winning a fight, not for viral fame, but for something much more important. She'd changed a culture, transformed a school, saved future victims from suffering in silence, and proved that one person standing up could inspire hundreds to do the same. The new trophy case gleamed in the afternoon light. But the real victory wasn't in the medals or newspaper clippings. It was in the hallways where students walked without fear. In the classrooms where respect was standard. In the knowledge that at Westfield High, everybody belonged. Madison gathered her gear for evening training. She had 65 students now, with a waiting list growing daily. Other schools had called, asking her to start programs. Community centers wanted her expertise. She looked at the photo Coach Chen had sent. Young fighters in Madison's stance, wearing shirts with her quote, "A movement growing beyond one school, beyond one viral video." True strength wasn't about domination. It was about protection. And Westfield High had finally learned the difference.